Hello and welcome to this episode of LCTV. In this episode, I'm going to be sharing with you the types of things to look out for when authenticating a Louis Vuitton Speedy. So the Speedy comes in three different styles. You've got the Damier Ebene, which is this print. Damier just means checkerboard and Ebene is just a colour, which is brown. You've also got the Damier Azur, which is the lighter coloured one of this, and you've got probably the most popular one, the monogram print, which is the LV with all the flowers on it as well. Before I go into the authentication of the bag, I just want to give you a little background to what the Speedy 30 is. So the Speedy 30 was born in 1930 and it was the first handbag that Louis Vuitton ever made. Before making handbags, they made trunks, which is basically just what people used to store all the stuff in back in the day. When they first made the Speedy, it was only in one size, which is the Speedy 30. If you fast forward 35 years to 1965, Audrey Hepburn came along to Louis Vuitton and said, "I love your bag, but it's just a bit too big for me, I need a smaller one." So then was born the Speedy 25. If you fast forward to today, we've got 5 different sizes of it. The Louis Vuitton Nano Speedy, the 25, the 30, the 35 and the 40. All that number means is the size from here to here in centimetres. So the bigger the number, the bigger the bag. Now onto the bag, and this authentication won't fit every single Speedy because there are different models of the Speedy and it just depends on when the Speedy was made. This one was made in 2013, so it fits in the 2011 to 2015 category. In 2016 it's slightly changed, but to be honest, if you stick to the main principles of authenticating a Louis Vuitton bag, you can pretty much authenticate any of them. The principles are all the same and I'm going to mention them throughout the video. So onto the bag, and the first place to start is a great place to start, and it's the stitching. So Louis Vuitton are massive on their stitching. The stitching has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, it won't be a genuine bag. It has to be really neat. There shouldn't be one out of line, and they all should be the exact same in length. If it's not a genuine bag. So the first place where we look at the stitching on the Speedy is these places called the chaps. It basically just keeps the handles in place, and there's 4 of them, 1, 2 and then 2 on the other side as well. So if you look at the chaps on the Damier Ebene print, there should be 6 stitches running across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then from the top to the middle there should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And from the middle to the bottom where they meet again, there should be 7. So if you count, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. And as I said before, they're all the same length, there's not one out of place. And this should be the same on all 4 chaps. If it's not, then it's not a real Louis Vuitton bag. Louis Vuitton are massive on symmetry, and if it's not symmetrical, then it won't be a genuine bag. If you're sitting at home and you're watching this video and you've got this model Speedy, but not in this print and it doesn't match the stitching, don't worry. The leather used on the Damier Azur and the monogram prints is slightly different, so it doesn't need as many stitches. So just go onto Google how many stitches it should have, and I'm sure you'll be fine. Another place that we look out for the stitching on the Speedy is the handles. It's just because there's so many stitches on the handles. It should be, as I said before, all the same length and all straight. There shouldn't be one out of place. And on the handles, they finish off either side with a double stitch. Of course, the fake bags can replicate this, but it probably will not be anywhere near as neat. Look for the length of the stitches and look for the straightness of the stitches. That's a great place to start when you're authenticating a Louis Vuitton. And the next thing we look out for is the print on the bag. And as you can tell as the video's gone on, the bag doesn't actually keep its shape very well. And it's just because the nature of the material that Louis Vuitton use. It's a type of canvas. It's a really good material. Just because it doesn't keep its shape, it doesn't mean it's not a good material. It is, it's really high quality. It's just not very firm. It's still thick, but it's just not very firm. So if you've got a Louis Vuitton at home and it's really good at keeping its shape, it's probably not a genuine one. It's just because of the material. A little rule that we like to look out for is whatever colour it starts with on this side. If you go all the way across vertically on the same line, it should end with the same colour. So if it starts with a dark brown, it should end with a dark brown. If it starts with a light brown, it should end with a light brown as well. The genuine Louis Vuitton canvas has a really unique feel to it. If you've got a Louis Vuitton at home and you're still unsure whether it's genuine or not, just take it to your local Louis Vuitton shop and just feel the canvases in there. You'll probably know straight away whether you've got a real one or not. A lot of the fake Louis Vuitton canvases are really glossy, really shiny. This just isn't the case on the genuine ones. They should be a matte in colour, there should be not a lot of shine to it. So that's another way of spotting an authentic one as well. Another thing that we look out for on the print as well is the logo within the print. The The logo says Louis Vuitton Paris and it's all in capital letters and it's not touching each other at all. Each character is all separate. They shouldn't be touching each other at all. If they are, it won't be a real Louis Vuitton. Also, it's quite hard to make out what it says. Obviously, if you know it's a Louis Vuitton bag, it says Louis Vuitton, but if you didn't know, you'd have to go up quite close and squint your eyes and see that it says Louis Vuitton. On the fake ones, this just isn't the case. Dead sharp lettering, you can see it says Louis Vuitton. It should have a long L with a short stump and a really circled O. That's just a thing we also look out for as well when we're authenticating one of these. The next thing that's really important to us and we look out for is the heat stamp. And on the Speedy, it's found on the side of the bag. Also, again, we look at the stitching and there should be on the heat stamp 4 even stitches meeting each other. 1, 2, 3 and 4. It should be the same, all equal length, not one out of place. As you can tell, I'm going on about stitching a lot because stitching is massively important when you're authenticating a Louis Vuitton. So the heat stamp says Louis Vuitton Paris. Underneath where it says Louis Vuitton Paris, it says made in France. Now if you're sitting at home and you're looking at your bag and you're like, oh, it doesn't say made in France, don't worry, it can be made in other factories as well. It can be made in France, it can be made in Spain, and it can be made in USA. It just depends on the factory the bag was made in, and you can find this out through the date code inside, which we'll touch on later. The final thing we check on the exterior of the bag is the hardware. So the hardware is the goldy coloured things that you see here. It's actually golden coloured brass. A lot of the fake ones are made out of plastic and they're a dead cheap material, and you can actually feel the material itself. It snaps often as well. So if you've got a Louis Vuitton and you've got a snap piece of hardware, it's probably not a genuine bag. The fake ones, as I say, are different colour to this. Still gold, but they're really light gold and they're really shiny. They just look really cheap. If you look at the golden brass on the real Louis Vuittons, they do look high quality. Some of the hardware is actually engraved. If you look at the buttons here on the chaps, they're actually engraved with Louis Vuitton, but on the buttons they're slightly different. I was telling you about the O, how it's really circular. On the buttons it's more of a square shape, so this is just something that you need to look out for as well. Another part of the hardware to look at is the zip as well. A lot of people say if your zip's tough then it's not a genuine bag. That's just not the case. The Louis Vuitton zips, especially on the older bags, are quite tough, but you can just tell when you're zipping them the quality of the bag. Sometimes they do snag, sometimes they do catch, but overall it's a really high quality zip. Louis Vuitton actually have a quality control check of zipping the zip 1,000 times before it's shipped off to the shops. It's just something that Louis Vuitton do to make sure that the zips never break. If you've got a Louis Vuitton and your zip's broken and you haven't used it that much, it's probably not genuine. They probably could break after many, many years of wear, but that's why I say if you've not had it for long and your zip's broken, it's probably not a genuine one. So the final thing that we look out for is the date code. In the Speedy, this can be found inside the bag. So all you have to do is open the bag up and then you'll find a pocket inside. If you just lift the pocket up and then on the right hand side, there should be the date code. And we can often tell from the font whether it's a genuine one or not as well. Sometimes the replicas can have really good fonts, so this is where you've just got to be extra careful. So the Louis Vuitton date code is made up of 2 letters and 4 numbers. Over the years it's changed, but for the past 20 or 30 years it's stayed with the same structure. The first 2 letters are always at the beginning, and these stand for the factory that it was made in. The 2 letters are then followed by 4 digits, and the first and the third digit are the week in the year that the bag was made, and the second and the 4th digit was the year that the bag was made in. So this date code reads TR2163. TR stands for a factory in France, which matches the side where it says made in France. And then the first and the third digit, which is 2 and 6, means the 26th week. And then the second and the 4th digit is 1 and 3, which means 2013. So if you read this from start to finish, it means the bag was made in France in the 26th week of 2013. The date code is quite hard to get your head around at first, but once you read a few, it does get easier over time. Thanks for watching that episode of LCTV. We really hope that this has cleared things up for you when you're trying to authenticate a Louis Vuitton. If you've seen one online that you're unsure of, or you've got one at home that you bought a few years back and you still don't know whether it's genuine or not, we really hope this video helps you out. If you've got any questions, please feel free to comment down below. If you're still unsure whether your Louis Vuitton is fake or not, just get in touch and we'll answer as many questions as we can for you. Please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week with another episode.